Hi guys, you're welcome to Tutorial Space with Ola, and you are welcome to today's tutorial also. In today's tutorial we are going to complete the rear parts of our engine, which is the crankcase sub-assembly. If you haven't been following through with the project so far, so if possibly you don't have the crankcase sub-assembly, there is a video already created, and actually all the processes that were involved to getting into this point, so they are available on the YouTube channel. So what we'll be doing today is to cover up this part and then also connect intake sub-assembly and exhaust gas sub-assembly pipes. Alright, before we go on, if you are new to this YouTube channel and you like what you see already, then do not hesitate to go over to the subscribe button to click on that, and you can be rest assured that you would enjoy your time here with me on this channel. Alright, so today's work we are going to be doing a little bit more than the previous tutorial, in the sense that we are going to edit some parts, and there's also a part that I have edited, but it's kind of difficult to demonstrate that. However, I am going to upload the parts somewhere on the internet, and I'll provide a link for you to be able to access it. So what that part is going to be is not something really serious, because we have actually created that part, but it wasn't done to perfection. So what the part is this exhaust pipe sub-assembly. Previously it looks like this, but then it has been modified in a way, and so I'm going to be uploading this so that you can have access to it, and then you don't have to go through the process of trying to figure out how to create the complex shape anymore. The only thing that changed here is the route by which the pipe follows. So previously it looked more defined, but now you notice that it has a little bit of more curves. Anyway, that's going to be easy. So for now, I will be inserting the parts that will be used to close up this rear part of the engine. So to begin, I would come over here to place and begin to insert my parts from my part folder. So the first part that I would be bringing in is going to be from the assembly files, which is the suction housing sub-assembly. I click on open and drop this here. Alright, so this is here, and the first thing I'll just apply the normal constraints that we are already accustomed to, which is the cylindrical constraint. Select on this surface and select also on this surface here. So we understand the orientation we want. We have the venturi cups facing outward here, so but we want it to be in the opposite direction, so I will select on aligned here, and if you notice that the extrusion part is what we have outside, so I'll select on apply and cancel. I'll drag this backward a little bit. Alright, so if you notice for this suction housing sub-assembly, there is supposed to be a hole somewhere. Yes, that is this hole. So I want that hole to be located at the top part of the assembly. So I want it to be on top this way. And what I will do, if I look at the right view, so this is the hole I want, and I want it to be here. If you notice that the hole seems to be in alignment with this circle, so what would be done is I want this circle here to be aligned to this here. So I'll select on constraint the cylindrical surface here and also the cylindrical surface here. Apply. Now if you notice that this hole is aligned to this. Alright, with that done, the next thing would be to mate the two faces, this face together with this backward face here. And we have something like this. Apply and cancel. So you notice that all the holes are aligned to the appropriate holes or threads, and that's fine. So we need to edit this part actually. So I'll select on the subassembly, that is the entire suction housing subassembly, and click on edit. Alright, then I go to the suction housing itself and not the venturi. So the suction housing itself, and I click on, let me just click on open to open it in a different file or different workspace. So this is what I want to edit. It's very quick adjustments. So I would edit this sketch, edit sketch, drag it sideways. And what I want is, this is not properly dimensioned. I know that in the process of creating the parts I cross-checked, but I don't know how I missed this. So this shouldn't be 19, it should be 22, while the 19 ought to be from this line to this and not this. So I'll make this 22. Alright, and then this should be 3. I'll make this 3. Okay, I would change these to 5. Alright, and then I'll finish this sketch. So you notice that it has increased in its distance, and then the next thing for me to do, I will try to cross-check the distance between the center of this hole and this face. So I go over to tools, measure from this face to this, it should be 9.5. So that is correct, and I hope that it is the same with this hole here. So this face to, let's see. Alright, so there is something wrong. Alright, so what we'll do is I would simply move this face by 3. If you notice that the circle within here has also adjusted itself, that is, it left its original position here, but then this hole, which is here, I expect it should be an extrusion or something. So this extrusion here has remained where it is. Meanwhile, it also ought to have adjusted. But since it didn't do that, so I would just edit on the sketch here, edit sketch, and create a distance from here to the midpoint, should be 9.5. Alright, and finish sketch. So now that makes sense, and that is solved. So by doing this, I'm done editing this part. I can save this now and escape to cancel it. Alright, not sure if it has adjusted here already, so I'll select on this. Okay, so it seems to have done that already. Alright, Okay, so the next thing to do is we are going to select on this crankcase itself also and open it separately. I'm sure you could have noticed in the process of creating these parts that some of the dimensions were missing, and this is one of the reasons why we have these things happening now. So I'll do this. It's this part, extrusion. So I would edit this sketch here. Edit sketch. Alright, so what we want to edit is what we have here. And as you can see that the process of creating this previously, I used this construction line, which is 114.55 millimeters for its diameter. So the first thing I'll do is I will delete this construction line, right? Then I would place a new dimension from this center to the center of this circle and make this 55. Alright, so this is 55 and this would be 5, correct? And since it looks kind of weird this way, so we will just increase this to, let's say, 12. Let's see how that looks. 12. Alright, so 12 is not bad. Actually, the only dimensions I'm sure of right now are this 5 millimeters and 55. So this doesn't really like have much of an impact. So I can make this 13, just for the appearance. So I'll finish this sketch and let's see. Yeah, so all of that has been adjusted, and then this hole here would be sustained. So let me just confirm that from this surface here to this hole is 55. Alright, so the center distance is still 55, and that is good. So that's all adjustment for this part. Do this, and alright, let's see, home view, save and cancel. Okay, so this has been adjusted here, and then we are good to go. So the next thing for me to do is I'll go to my place and bring in the suspension spacer. So it looks this way, and please don't fret, I'm going to upload a document that shows all the new labeled names for all of these parts. So I open this, I bring this in once, right? And then I place my constraints. First of all, the cylindrical constraints, this to this hole here. Alright, so it's in the opposite direction. I change that and apply. Then the next thing would be to mate the two faces, this face and this backward face here, and apply. Alright, cancel, and I have this, right? Okay, so we have this, and then next I will be bringing in another part, which is the assembly ring. It's a simple circle kind of ring with several bores through the solid. I open this, I bring this in, escape, and also place the constraints. Firstly, the cylindrical constraints, this and this. Okay, I apply, then escape. I drag this outward a little bit. Alright, and constraint between this is cylindrical constraint again with one of these holes. Okay, so the reason why we changed the distance of this hole initially was because it wasn't mating accordingly with this. So I had to adjust that. And since this part did not have like a discrete description of the distance, but then this one had, so using that to deduce that this is how it ought to be. Alright, so I'll place a constraint also between this face and this face. Apply. Alright, cancel. And then we will be bringing in now our intake subassembly and the exhaust subassembly. So I come to place, assembly files, the intake, pipe subassembly, and the exhaust pipe subassembly, and open. So I drop once and escape. Alright, so this is the intake, the one that we created previously together, and the exhaust is the snake looking type. So what we'll do is I will just place the constraints between this and one of the cylinders. I'll do the same for the exhaust. Then we pattern all the parts that need to be patterned all around. Alright, so firstly I would place constraints. Where I'm placing the intake subassembly is, if you look at from the right view, it's this part of your cylinder. Alright, so I'll make this view and say a cylindrical constraint between this and this part. Alright, so we have this. Let's see how it goes. So I'll flip this over. Yeah, so we need it to be outward this way, and I apply. Alright, I'll cancel this and rotate this a little bit. Okay, and then I'll place the same constraint between one of these holes and the corresponding hole here. So for this, I will just drop between this and this. Apply, cancel. Alright, so if I drag this outward, we see that the holes are aligned to each other. And lastly, we place the constraint between the gasket seal here and the face of the cylinder exhaust or intake conduit, and we apply. So if we look at this, it's properly positioned and aligned to fit into this hole here. So we have this already. So that's in there. And then the next, place our exhaust pipe also. So I'll drag this. Where is it? So it's here. Constraint this face together with this face. Alright, not so sure it's in the proper direction. It's facing the opposite side, so let's flip this over. Alright, so this is correct, and apply. I would cancel this, drag this out a little bit, and also rotate it. Alright, and then I'll place the cylindrical constraint between this point and this hole here. Okay, apply. And lastly, it's going to be the mate between this face and this face here. Alright, apply and cancel. Alright guys, so we are halfway done. I would make it this way. And lastly, we'll be bringing in a new part, which is going to be called the exhaust gas collector. This part. Open and place. Alright. So, okay. I'll place the cylindrical constraint between this and this. You will notice that we have two of the extrusions going upwards. So, and also if you can see that these parts here are facing this direction. So I flip that over and apply, cancel. I drag this outward so you understand the kind of orientation we want. So this is what we seek to have. Alright, then we would go over to the origin. Let's see, this is the YZ plane. Alright, so I need this plane. I make this plane visible. And I come over into the exhaust gas collector. I search for the corresponding plane, which is the YZ plane here also, visible. Then I place a constraint between the both of them for alignment. Alright, so it's this way. I change that and we have this. Alright, cancel. Now I can make this, invisible again. The next step to take is for me to bring this part into this. Already they are cylindrically constrained. So I'll make, just to show, constraint between this and this. So they are already constrained. It's actually not necessary to do that, just like this. So what will be done is I would just mate the faces, the corresponding faces. That would be this face with the face within here, and apply, cancel. Alright, so this is what we have, right? Good. So actually we could pattern this right now, but let's create the bolts first of all. So we pattern the bolt along with all these newly introduced parts. So I would say we go to place from content center, and we go over to fasteners, bolts. Let's see, socket head. So I click on socket head, and then we search for DIN EN ISO 4762. EIN ISO 4762. DIN EN ISO 4, okay, this is it, 4762, and okay. Alright, so first things, we select on this. Let's rotate a little bit, and we select on the thread within this part and select on this face. Alright, so it has identified the extra one, and let's see if also identified the ones behind. No. Alright, so we just have these two, and I click on accept, and we repeat the same process for these parts here. So take note that when you see me selecting a white surface, the white surface is always the threaded part, but due to the kind of view style I'm using, it's always depicted as just a white surface. So I'll zoom into that. I'll select on the surface and this, and okay, selected the two and accept. All right. So still with this same bolt style, I would come over here to select on the thread here. Yeah. So that's selected and this outer surface here. So you need to know that it's possible that your computer is going to be very slow doing this. I mean, mine is, but you cannot notice it because definitely I'm editing the video, so I'm editing out all those parts that are really slow. So alright, so that's that, and we need it to repeat the same process all around. Or let's see, we could just leave it at 1, right, and select apply. Oh, so it's selected it all around. Weird. Okay, then lastly, what we would do is same place from content center, and this time we would be looking for an hexagonal flanged knot. So that's not here. Let's see. Okay, hexagonal flanged, and we would be looking for the DINEN ISO 10511. DINEN ISO 10511. As usual, I don't know all these standards in my head, but you know, I've done my own assignments in finding the appropriate parts. So I'll select on this thread, right? Then I select on this face, right? And check. Okay, so that's done. Escape button, and we are ready to pattern around. So I would create an axis here, right? Then I go to pattern. I'm going to carefully select on the parts that need to be patterned. So the components, I need this bolt, this subassembly, I need this part, I need its knot, right? Then I also need the same bolts here, 1, 2, and this. Alright, I suppose that that's all. Let's see. Alright, so that's all. Okay, so the axis of rotation, it's this, and we want this to be patterned 7 times, and we also change this, so we say equal to 360 degrees divided by 7. Okay, let's see how this is. Alright, so they are not interfering with each other. We have them all around, and that is going to be fine. Alright, that was quite long and maybe a little bit complicated, but I mean, I think if you have been going through with the process from the beginning, it shouldn't be that difficult to understand. And yeah, so in the next tutorial, we are going to be bringing in the parts for controlling these cams, right, which we did in the previous tutorial. So we bring that in, we close this up, we align all of these parts with the new parts to be introduced, and then we probably after that we would have just one more tutorial to complete the process, and that is to include the other parts leading up to the propellers for this engine. Alright guys, so it's pretty simple and I hope you guys have enjoyed this so far. So we save this now so we don't have to forget. I've edited a couple of parts, so I click on OK, and so this is saved. Alright, so what do? We're good to go. If you liked this tutorial, do not forget to click on the like button, and if you have questions or comments, do not hesitate to place them also in the comment section. I think these days it has been quite cumbersome, even though I don't get a lot of comments, but I get requests that I have to try to squeeze out time for to be able to give you what you are requesting for. But then it doesn't matter. I will still like you to place your comments. It might take a little bit of time, but I would try my very best to get everyone the things that they want, or just to, even if I don't have it, I would send you a mail. If you send me one, then I'll be able to respond to you. Alright guys, so also, if you are yet to subscribe, click on the subscribe button, and I'll see you guys in the next tutorial. And remember, keep watching this space.